Ho, ho, ho! It's Christmas week, so unless something really goes foobar, we're going to lighten things up with some very special Cooking with Steve segments. They're special partly because, in at least one case, we're going to show you how to do some really cool things with your leftovers, kind of like the turkey jambalaya that I showed you last year. The other reason is that for the first time ever, I'm going to show you one of my original recipes. But don't worry, I have tested this first, so you can put away the phone number for the Poison Control Center and put away the Pepto-Bismol, alright? Today, if you want to have even more of the traditional Christmas dinner, I'm going to show you how to keep that alive with a kind of turkey veggie soup that I call Holidays in a Bowl. And before anyone gets on my case about the so-called political correctness angle, grab some eggnog and settle down. There are holidays besides Christmas where you generally have turkey for dinner, like say Easter and Thanksgiving. I'm just trying to be broad, okay? Okay. This can be very simple or very elaborate, depending on how much effort you want to put into it and how many people you're serving. Come to think of it, for some people this might need as much work as the actual Christmas dinner. Heck, if you want to just make this instead for December 25th, who am I to judge? It's your family and your meal. For instance, you don't have to make the stock from scratch if you don't want to, but if you're that kind of cook, I'm going to show you how to. Obviously, you're going to want to save some leftover turkey meat for the soup itself, but depending on the kind of turkey you buy, you'll probably have other things like pan drippings, skin, and bones. Yeah, you'll be tempted to throw out. Don't do that. Instead, put them in a big pot or a roasting pan along with a chopped onion, celery rib, and carrot. Add a sprinkle of a light seasoning like sage or thyme, then cover with water and simmer. You're generally supposed to let it simmer all day if possible, and just take it off when it tastes right to you. After all that, use a skimmer or a strainer to get rid of all the big solid parts. Anyway, whether you make the stock from scratch or not, here's what you want for the soup itself. About 1.5 cups of chopped potatoes with the skins on, a medium-sized carrot diced finely, and don't use the same one that you made the stock from scratch with. If you're cooking for a fairly big group, you can also dice a white onion, a rib of celery, and a few green beans. In any case, chop the veggies and turkey meat into fairly small pieces, about the size of the tip of your thumb. By the way, I know that this is a chicken breast in the video. I didn't have the time to take these pictures with a hunk of turkey, so please bear with me. Anyway, put the stock back on the stove, or if you're not making it from scratch, pour in a 900 milliliter box of ready-to-use chicken broth, plus the pan drippings from your bird. Add a dash of black pepper and oregano, bring it to a boil, and then pour in the diced turkey and all veggies except for the potatoes. Bring the temperature down to about low-medium, which is about level 3 on my stove, and then let it simmer covered for about 10 minutes. Stir it often, and after those 10 minutes, then you put the potatoes in. Let it simmer for another 10 minutes, continuing to stir, and by that time the potatoes should have a texture that is nice and soft, but not so much so that they'll just dissolve if you touch them. That's why you're not supposed to throw them in at the beginning. Anyway, after all that, it's dinner time, and believe me, this is a very nice soup. I'm not just being egotistical, this really blew my family away when I first made it. At the very least, it actually made me like cooked carrots. So who knows, this might not just keep life in your Christmas leftovers, but it might actually satisfy the fussy eater in your family. And yes, I know that from experience. Good eating, and Merry Christmas. That's it for me.